The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, this is another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with me, Matson from Metalcloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
I'm good. It's good to see you, too. Rockstar Jeep girl, Jessy.
Hey.
So this is kind of, this is like 2 in a row that we've recorded on video.
Right, which is kind of cool.
And if you're just sitting there listening to this on a podcast, well, we appreciate you, but go check out the YouTube channel. Tell us if you like us. Tell us if you if we look the way we sound. I mean, it's kind of that feedback. Although many of our fans are like, "Hey, I met you out there already." It's kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah. Although it's been weird, man. Can you believe? First off, it's already November.
It's already the second week in November, which is just
It's already Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all of our amazing veterans. And I'm going to throw first responders in there just because I know this year especially has been incredibly tough for first responders. So I don't know if there's a First Responders Day. Maybe there should be. But Veterans Day is very important to me. It's very important to you guys as well, and to many of our fans, and it should be. But I'm just going to put that little in there. I want to say thank you to our first responders, many of whom are veterans. Right. But the world has been so weird this year. I'm still expecting, because remember November we were supposed to have aliens come, and right. I'm still expecting that. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen. The aliens are going to be here.
You know what? I think it's interesting how many veterans are a part of our Jeep community, and it's just it's really cool. I don't know if there's some reason behind that. We have so many veterans, or just the way the numbers work out. But it's really cool at a lot of events to see guys, and I know at King of the Hammers, every year we've always done some kind of a support where they take veterans out on the trail and things like that. So it's a cool day to be celebrating our veterans for sure.
Absolutely. And it's one of those unique holidays too. It's kind of because it happens on the 11th, no matter what. Right now, I'm sitting here starting to say that in the back of my mind. I'm wondering, I should know the answer to this, but why? So I'm actually going to be checking this out. Why November 11 Veterans Day? Because other people have looked this up too, so I don't feel so bad. It was Armistice Day, which was originally set as a U.S. legal holiday to honor the end of World War I, which officially took place on November 11th, 1918. Okay, there you go. So that's why. So it became Armistice Day, and then it became Veterans Day. But it is one of those unique ones that no matter what's going on, it's still the 11th. It's not like the first Monday or the second Tuesday or, whatever. So it's just kind of cool. Anyway, happy Veterans Day. Love our veterans. And it is such a strong part of our community. You're right. Especially when you think back to, the Jeep. I mean, the Jeep started because of America's military. We all make a living because of America's military.
Yeah. What would have happened if they didn't request those companies back then to produce some kind of a vehicle for warfare? I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about. All these years later, here we are. We all have jobs, and we all are in this Jeep lifestyle because of them. Well,
the cynical answer would have been, had they not done that, we probably would have lost.
Right. Yeah, right.
What's that TV show? It's that Netflix show, I think it is, or no, it's at Amazon. The Man in the White Castle, based on the book. It's called Man in the White Castle, and it's a future, or it's a different universe where Nazi Germany and Japan won the war.
Oh, wow.
And they split up the United States. Like everything west of the Rockies is Japanese, everything east of the Rockies is Nazi. And
interesting.
Yeah. And it's a sci-fi book, and it's actually based on a book, but they've had like 2 or 3 seasons now. I believe it's Amazon, but I'm not sure. But I think we didn't have the Jeep, and we didn't have companies like Ford and Chevy and all those guys building building product and building tanks and all that, we would have lost.
Right.
American ingenuity overcame being behind the 8 ball. Huh. How do we go off? How do we get off on that? That's just like,
I don't know. It's just kind of a reflection thing too. Like, again, it's, and I want to say again, thanks to all the people that have reached out to me over the past week. I'm still getting people to emailing me and sending me messages and checking on me and asking about, my family and making sure everything's okay. And you know what? It's a process, and it's a healing process, and still dealing with a lot of things and a lot of going through my mom's stuff in the house and all of those things. But just kudos and thank you for everybody for reaching out. So.
Absolutely. And it just says, again, as I said before, it just shows how many friends you have and how good of a person you've been in your life, that people are actually reaching out. It's not just and sometimes I wonder, like, my wife and I have a competition on birthdays on Facebook, right? Like, to see who gets more happy birthdays. And I should, because I have more friends on Facebook. But half the time you're doing happy birthdays, like, oh, just because it's a thing, right? And it's not so much a heartfelt happy birthday, but it's more of just, oh, say happy birthday to somebody. But I could tell just from the posts that they were heartfelt posts, people who truly knew you and loved you and were feeling for you.
Well, I had a boss back in the day, and she had a mantra and always said, live a clean life. And it never, I think I mentioned this maybe in a prior show, but that holds true for so many things in so many parts of life. She always said, whoever you meet, be kind, be nice. Every person that you come across, every acquaintance, you may either end up working for them or they may end up working for you. Live a clean life. All of those things from your past, burning bridges and all that kind of stuff, that all eventually will catch up. And I think it's very true. If you're honest and you have a high standard for integrity and that kind of thing, I think that it plays out in the long run. So anyway, yeah.
Absolutely. And on the flip side of that, karma's a bitch.
Yes, very true. Very true.
And that plays a lot into our industry, right? I mean, all of our modern Jeepers out there, we are so respectful of each other on the trails. We are so respectful of each other when we're out wheeling. Even in the industry, you may have somebody who will fight, we will fight tooth and nail against them as a company. But on the trail, we're all friends, Right. And it just says a lot about us and what we're doing and that common bond that we have. That's it. So hey, we were talking about a little bit earlier, like, we usually detect tips of the week, but I last time I said I would share a little bit about this gadget I had, this thing here, this box, this big metal box. So I figured before we get into our actual guest that we have today, I would talk about that little box here. So what this is, and this is an Indiegogo. I do a lot of these little Kickstarter Indiegogo things. I don't say a lot anymore. My wife gets mad at me when I do them, but they're just fun little things. And this one was on there. It was $75. It is, and it folds up, okay, and it folds open, and it forms a box, and it's a firebox. I'm gonna pop it over here because doing it one-handed apparently is not part of the technique.
Now, this is going to definitely force our listeners, they got to go look at the video because they're going to be like, what is Matson messing with? Exactly.
I can make all kinds of noise, like, and this is noise for our listeners. But it's a cool little box, and this is why, as part of the gadget thing, as part of doing video, you get to actually see these gadgets that we do. Anyway, so this thing folds out into a box, and boom, done. It's a box. And for our listeners, it is a blue base with a probably 4x4 box top of aluminum and stainless steel combination. It has, you put your wood and chips and stuff in the top, right? And you get that stuff going. And this in the bottom is a fan. And you can hear that.
Is there a battery? There's a battery inside.
There's a battery inside of it. And so that fan allows the turbo action to occur. Have you ever seen a fan that blows up on a flame? It creates a turbo action. so you can get a really high intense flame. Now, the interesting part about this, and the reason I got it, and this is not, by the way, this is not a backpacking item. This is a Jeep item, maybe a survival kit item, because it weighs more than like Scott Becker's entire backpack, right? Of course.
Well, and for our listeners, this thing is like 5 inches by 5 inches.
Yeah, probably about five
by
5 by 5 by 3 is the compact size. So 5 by 5 by 6 maybe is the open size, but there's something interesting inside of here. Now you can see it here, and you guys can see those 2 pegs sticking up. Okay, so what those are thermoconductors. Thermoconductors. When the fire is going, the thermoconductors absorb the heat and convert it into electricity.
That's cool.
And this has a USB port in the front, so you can charge your all important devices when you're out on the trail. So it does have a little USB port on the bottom for charging it up, so you can have it pre-charged. But if you're out on a long trip, you can put fire in here. It uses thermal heat to create electricity and allow you to charge your devices.
You could put like a little skillet pan
Sure.
on top of it, or a cup or something, and heat up one of those little heat 'em up.
Yeah, and that's basically, actually, these little pegs come in here, and it can hold a pan, a skillet. It can cook your meals, and because of that's why it has the turbo fans, because it allows that to heat up faster, not just be a little flame, and actually be able to heat your meals faster. Now, if you notice on the side here, there's 2 holes. Those 2 ports line up right there with what looks kind of like a colonoscopy bag, but it is a bag that points in there, and it'll blow hot air through. So if you had a liquid that you were just heating up as well, or wanted to maintain it and keep it hot, you could do it that way too. So you can put a skillet on top, use it as a fire, and have something you're keeping warm on the side of it, like this, right? And so it's just a cool little gadget, little setup. It's a company.
Now you're gonna have to use it, and we're gonna have to do like a little
review.
Review of how it works.
Well, as you guys know, since you manage ModernJeeper, I've been very bad at like actually finishing my reviews. So it's not like everybody else. But
I think you should build a little fire on your desk. I'm sure that
you should.
Oh, think that'd be okay?
I think it'd be fine.
Well,
You're in California. What could go wrong?
Right. So anyway, that's our gadget. It's called an Aishu Flame Cube.
Spell that?
Aishu, Aishu, Aishu. See that there?
Yep.
It's a flame cube. Here's the box that it came in. It was Indiegogo. It's a company's out of Hong Kong. I mean, that's the company that designed and manufactured it. It's out of Hong Kong. It ships it from Hong Kong, and it's a cool little thing. There's another company that makes a version of this, and they got a small one, and it's kind of cool because they also have a massive one. It's a big one, like a big fire pit that they sell to like villages in the middle of Africa, so the village can actually create electricity from having this.
Their iPhones.
Yeah.
Exactly, but that's important because you think you're kidding?
Oh,
Like
no.
Like they have nothing, but they have an iPhone.
Right. Well, how else would they do podcasts and YouTube?
Right, and Facebook.
Because
they have to have Facebook, right? Because
Yeah. Because that's what you do.
But have you seen, like, you get these satellites that SpaceX is putting up, like between Tesla and SpaceX are putting these satellites that they're going to have like 60,000 of them around the Earth. Also, we can have internet access. Also, we can have internet access in our Jeeps,
which is handy for when we need that.
When we're driving.
By the way, this is not a political statement I'm about to say, but did you see? Did you see how many Jeeps were at the Biden events?
Yes.
I mean, it's just I
thought Jeep maybe sponsored his speech because a row of Jeeps, and it was very clear, like the white one with black Jeep on the back of the tailgate.
Right. It's like, and they had them all with their tops off, all sitting there, and it was like the first 3 or 4 rows were all Jeeps, and I think those were like the VIP seats. Like you didn't have to drive in; you came and you sat in the VIP seat. And then yet behind that was all the people that had driven in and parked and were honking their horns and everything else. But yeah, it was kind of interesting to see that big row of Jeeps. I got a few.
It's like a drive-in theater, right, where you could sit in the back of the JT. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to actually take my boys out and do that. Sit in the back of the truck, back it up, watch a movie, not have to worry about them jumping out every 5 minutes.
I think you should try to find some of those Subaru Brat seats and mount them in the back.
I'll just take a couple of office seats from Metalcloak and just strap them down. Just strap them down. I got Line-X in the back. What can go wrong?
Hey, we have a guest.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So up here behind me, guys, and if you can't see this because if you're listening, but this is actually what's happening today at Metalcloak, because we're recording this on Veterans Day. You guys are going to all listen to it on Thursday, but we're recording this on Veterans Day. One of the things Metalcloak has done for the last several years on Veterans Day when we do our sale is to give a portion of our sales back to a veterans organization. For several years, it was Wheelers for the Wounded out here in Northern California. And then it was either last year or the year before, I don't recall, we started doing it for Four Wheel to Heal. Now, Four Wheel to Heal is an amazing organization that we've all had a chance to work with, and just some of the veterans we've met, part of that group we can talk about. But we have with us, our special guest is the vice president of Four Wheel to Heal, and getting her on to the show right now. But Heven Davis is with us. Hello, Heven.
Hello, how are you guys doing today?
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So Heven Davis you are the vice president for Four Wheel to Heal. And how long have you been in that role?
I have been in the vice president role since May.
May.
And I've worked my way up from a regular volunteer all the way up.
Wow. And how did you get started?
I got started because my husband is a veteran. I wanted to try and help him with some of his stuff that was going on, that the counselors in the VA could not assist with. And somebody had recommended Four Wheel to Heal to me. And I looked them up, reached out to the Florida representative at the time, and went to an event and have been going ever since.
Wow, that's awesome. Corey, go ahead.
No, I think that's just great. I mean, it's one of those things where we end up getting involved with something because we have our own need, and then it turns into something that you end up getting to help many others as well. So
exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it's kind of like our buddy Eric Chenault with Wheelers for the Wounded. It was the same way. Like he went out to an event. I took him out. In fact, I invited him to an event. And Wheelers for the Wounded was a little different. It was more almost like, it seemed like every event was more like a healing process in and of itself. The veterans would sit around the fire that night telling their stories, and there was lots of tears and crying going on. But then they got to go run on the Rubicon. But I remember that first event, he was there and he was sucked in. He ended up being on the board, ended up helping do fundraising, and ended up expanding the organization. So it's so cool when you find something that makes you so passionate to be able to help people. So I've got to say, and Corey, you've worked with them over the years, especially I think the first time I ran into Four Wheel to Heal, first time I met anybody from Four Wheel to Heal was at the PA All Breeds Jeep show. And it was through Ian. So Ian Johnson had a long relationship with Four Wheel to Heal. He introduced me, I think it was originally to JP at that event, and brought it all together. And that was cool, and what he was doing with them. And then I ran into him at King of the Hammers. And that was when we had with, what was it? Jeremy Eland. Jeremy Eland did a fundraiser in his booth for the guys. And the thing that struck me the most is obviously Four Wheel to Heal has some amazing vets. And because of the connection and where you guys are from out of the East Coast, the connection to the hospitals out there, you've got some vets that are, double amputees, triple amputees, quad amputees. I mean, and everyone I met had this amazing, amazing attitude. I mean, They were inspiring. I walk up and I'm thinking, oh my God, I pray for you. And they're like, dude, like life is fantastic. This is great. I mean, the guys telling the jokes at the table, usually that's me. It was not me. I'm sitting there in awe and I'm listening to them because they were just amazing veterans. And that was inspiring to me. Like, wow. And it gave me a different perspective about it, because you think about it, you think about the hardships that they're going through. Mm-hmm. And they're like, dude, life is fucking awesome. Excuse my language. Now I gotta either bleep myself out, but that seems to be the attitude. It's just amazing.
Oh, it is. It definitely is the attitude. They don't want sympathy. They don't want your prayers. They just want to be accepted and cherished as the people that they are. They've served our country. They came back, wounded, disabled. Everybody has scars from serving in the military one way or another. But they don't want to dwell on that. And being in the Jeep community, you asked, Matson, or somebody asked, I think it was either Matson or Corey, how the Jeep community is as it is, and we have so many veterans. The reason for that is because of the camaraderie. It's the same type of camaraderie that they found in the military. It's something that they were missing, and it's something that everybody can bond over.
No, I get that. I mean,
Absolutely.
The reason that I'm in the industry was finding a group of like-minded individuals and being able to spend time with them was, it's different than a corporate way of life where you're pretty much on your own. So getting to do something that you enjoy with people that enjoying the same things, that's huge.
Absolutely.
It is. And because they have the ability to share and talk about the same things and not have to dwell on what has happened to them in the past, that's helping them in their healing process, as well as, like you said, Matson, they can be some of the funniest, most sarcastic, most obnoxious people in the world. But you have to love them for because they're all inspirational to everybody. Right. Regardless of what has happened, they continue to keep tracking through life.
Absolutely. And that's the big difference, I think, when you have organizations like Four Wheel to Heal versus them just sitting in the hospital pitying themselves, right? And we do live, while we live in these extraordinary times where unfortunately we have these military actions that end up with veterans. Throughout our history, we've had veterans that were disabled, but now we have so many more organizations that are there, not just saying, we're here to help you, we'll bring you a meal, or we're going to help you live life in a bed or whatever, here's some crutches. But the technology that they have available to them to be able to live a normal life is just amazing, the push. And God bless every company out there that has pushed technology to be able to give people and to give these disabled vets a normal life. But also organizations like yours that are giving them a new purpose, giving them something else to do with their lives. And that's amazing.
It definitely is. And being here I'm actually in Florida. JP unfortunately sends his regards, but he is still active duty. So he is actually pulling duty today. But with us starting out on the East Coast and moving out to the West Coast, it's definitely been a challenge trying to make sure that we have as many volunteers and warriors as we can get out to the events. But it's still, I've actually made it to King of the Hammers one time since I've been with Four Wheel to Heal. It was definitely an experience. It is definitely fast paced. But I wouldn't change the ability to share those moments with the warriors that we had and the other volunteers that are working so diligently in California to continue to do what they're doing. I wouldn't change those experiences for the world.
Absolutely. Now, like I think of the group I met at Jeremy Elan's event, they were all from the East Coast, right? Like you guys got those warriors across the country, all the way over here. I mean, that's
Yes.
amazing, and that's all from donations, right?
Yes, For Wheel to Heal is completely volunteer based. So everything that we receive donation wise from the sale of the merchandise on the website and at events goes 100% back into the organization. So nobody from the founders and the president on down, nobody takes a paycheck. We all do this because we are so passionate about it. A lot of times, I would say 100% of the board actually is either active duty, retired military, and we all still work full-time jobs.
Wow, well, it says a lot. It says a lot. Now, I do want to talk about events because obviously 2020 has been, 2020. So what have you guys done? Because usually it's not just bringing warriors out to events. You can't really do that now. Or what have you guys been doing to stay active with the warriors?
Well, we continue to stay in touch with them all, whether it be through Facebook, through phone calls. Each area kind of keeps in contact with them however they can. This year, it has been very hard because 90% of our events were canceled throughout the entire U.S. When they did start again, we still had to follow local and state COVID-19 restrictions. So we still had only a certain amount that we could take with us for warriors to events and still operate, which kind of hindered our mission because we try to get as many warriors as we can out to events. But with restrictions of being in groups of less than 10 or less than 25, it's a little hard to get as many people for running the booth and keeping with the warriors' needs, as well as attending the getting video and everything else that we need to keep showing everybody that follows us exactly what we do and who are the faces that we represent, because it's not about us. It's all about the people who have served. It's all about the warriors that we take out. So we try to stay out of the limelight as much as possible. But other than that, we keep emails. What has been another way of communication for us, because some people don't have the phone technology to be able to FaceTime or anything like that. So we do whatever we can to keep in contact with all of the warriors and just let them know, hey, we're still here. Is there anything I can do for you? You know, you may live so many hours from me, but if you need me down there, wherever I need to be, I'll go.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I know we're gonna put a link to the website in show notes and whatnot, but I just want our listeners to know, if I was just perusing the website, which is the number 4W, the number 2H. So it's 4wheel2heal, but it's 4w2h.org. And it's a super clean website. Your core values are awesome. I mean, there's ways to donate, there's ways to shop. Everything you guys do is very clear, and it's done very well and simply on the website. So our listeners need to be checking that out and taking a look at that as well.
And it's interesting, Corey. Heven, something you mentioned was that you put the warriors in the forefront and not you guys. And I mentioned that to Corey earlier, that it always seemed to me like with JP or anybody else that was in the organization, there was almost a reluctance to be the face of it. It always seemed that JP was trying to push other people ahead, and it didn't. Not that he's shy, but he doesn't really want the praise, approval. I went to JP early on and said, "Hey, dude, whatever you need for your Jeep, I'm here to help you." And he didn't want that, right? He didn't want that, and it was said a lot because he's not trying to do something for himself. He is truly doing this, and you guys truly are there for the passion of these warriors, and not what It's not try to build a future side hustle or anything. This is truly a passion of love for these warriors and what they've given to our country, and that's amazing. We've done some work with out at Jeep Beach. In fact, it's kind of I already am. It's going to be what, 3 months? What is Jeep Beach scheduled for 2021?
April 21st to the 26th, I believe.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, prayers it actually happens, but once again, we'll be working together because we've sponsored, Metalcloak has sponsored the booth for Foil to Heal every year. Last year, we brought you guys into kind of the enclave to be part of right where the CTI trailer was, and
that was amazing. Let me tell you.
Cool, because guys, when you go there, you go to Jeep Beach and go to Four Wheel to Heal, and you buy their merchandise. That's supporting the cause, and they've got a lot of merchandise. So. Yeah. 100% go there,
supporting their cause.
Absolutely. So it's worth every moment. So tell us some stories, because I want our listeners to get some ideas about these warriors. So tell us some stories about some of the warriors you've worked with and some stuff they've done.
Well, most of the warriors that I personally have worked with are Florida based, because down here in Florida, I have several that are also in Georgia. The most memorable one started out with us approximately 3 years ago. Very hesitant, very reluctant to talk to anybody. And they came down to Jeep Beach, I believe it was 2018. Got to talking to them and got them to another event, which was, at the time, it was Jeep Beach Jam out in Panama City. So we got them out to the second event. The warrior was more open, more relaxed, more joking, and becoming himself. And then the third event that we got them to was up in Jasper, Georgia. It was Sheriff's Jeep Fest. And we spent the entire weekend in a cabin during the evening hours and before the event, riding the trails and everything else. By Sheriff's Jeep Fest, the warrior was laughing, joking, being himself, completely relaxed around us. Just completely, I mean, it was like night and day from Jeep Beach to Jeep Fest. And it was amazing. So because that was my first warrior from start to finish, and they still come out with us on a regular basis. Every event that's in the Georgia, Florida area, they are with us every time. But it has become a family. As like I like to say, it's a dysfunctional, functional family.
The best type.
But it works because we feed off of each other's ideas. The warriors have come to me and said, hey, have you tried this? No, actually I haven't, but I will. Next event they come to, we put their ideas into motion. They're like, hey, that was my idea. Yes, it is. Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's just, we laugh, we joke. They tell the warriors tell stories about their service, what they've been through. And it helps. That's what helps them heal so much. You can see them start at the beginning with their first event, and they're so reluctant. They're so stressed. By the end of that first event, they have either completely relaxed and they're completely joyous about everything that's going on, or they're better than what they were, and you take them to another event, and by the second event, they're completely just living it up. I mean, like, there is not a care in the world.
That's awesome.
What we want everybody to feel like there's no care in the world. Yes, you've got things that are going on, but right now with us during the time that you're with Four Wheel to Heal, that is not the time to worry about it. Now is just the time to enjoy life and have a good time.
Well, that says a lot. Now, I remember JP saying early on, the mission wasn't necessarily like Wheelers for the Wounded was bring out a bunch of Jeepers that have Jeeps that go run the Rubicon and put a veteran as the passenger. And each individual Jeeper was responsible for that. So they'd actually go pick them up from their house, bring them out there, be responsible for camping and everything. Excuse me. And that was kind of like, it was just giving them the experience. But from JP, he was saying, like, they're not trying to like give people an experience. You guys are trying to take and give people the Jeeping lifestyle, like get them into Jeeps, get them into their own Jeeps. So this is their future. That's talk about that a little bit.
Well, we found that the Jeep community, as I said earlier, because it is something Jeeps were created for, initially for the war. So from there, they've progressed. They've become a very fun vehicle to drive. Doesn't matter what kind of Jeep you drive. Once you get behind the wheel of your Jeep and you're out there driving, it's going to put a smile on your face. It's just something that happens. You don't think about it. It just happens. So what we did was we took the idea and the camaraderie of the Jeep family, and we incorporated it into helping wounded and disabled veterans. It doesn't matter what type of wounds the veterans have. We just want to make sure that they are healing and getting to a good point in their life. But because the Jeep community is such a big family and they support one another without question, it was wonderful. And they've been so very accepting of Four Wheel to Heal in the Jeep community.
I love on the website, there's 3 base core values, and the second core value, I love it. It's, you guys deem it off-road therapy, and that's exactly what it is. I'm going to read them just because I think it'll be helpful for our listeners to get that perspective. To honor our warrior guests through dirt, rock, and mud, committing to the continued support of off-road therapy, and to always support those that have returned and remember the fallen. Your core values say it all. I mean, what a neat thing, and something very special.
Absolutely. And the core values were something that the founders created. 2 of the founders are still with us. One of them is JP, who is also the president. And the other founder that is still with the organization is Nate Ramos, who is the executive director. Both of them are still active duty currently today. So they take the values that they have been instilled with, and we kind of molded them so that it would fit our mission and what we wanted to accomplish.
That's awesome. I was actually trying to look it up because the episode, but one of the things Metalcloak did, and we were invited by Ian to come out and work on the TJ and do this whole TJ stretch TJ that he did for a warrior. And it was a great build. It was a multiple episode build, right? And we were there for the suspension side. It was fun being on set with him. But I wanted people to understand, because you watch that episode and he's wrenching on his own Jeep, right? And the warrior's sitting there and he's wrenching on his Jeep and he's doing stuff. But it looks all easy because it's 24 minutes. But it took, the dedication from him, because in order for him, he's a double amputee. In order for him to go from standing up to be able to get down and work on the wheels and do the lug nuts on the wheels, it was a 5-minute process, right? I mean, but the joy to be able to sit there and work on it, build his own Jeep, and have this pride of his own Jeep that he helped build, that was customized to work for him and give him hand controls and all the stuff that he needed to be able to do it incredibly well, was amazing. But it took, that it's not just being able to do things, it is the perseverance that lets them do things. It's that perseverance that I'm going to go put lug nuts on a tire or on a wheel and tighten my wheel up onto the axle. And I'm going to take me 5 minutes to get in a sitting position to be able to do that and get there and be able to start wrenching. And then a couple minutes to get back up. I mean, it just was that kind of perseverance that I think is really what helps these guys to heal in the first place. Because I imagine that if you don't have that perseverance, you don't really make it out of the hospital that well.
Agreed. They definitely have the perseverance to keep fighting and to keep overcoming any obstacle that is thrown at them. And I think that's one thing that continues to inspire me personally, is because it takes me 5 minutes to get into a sitting position. And, and I haven't been overseas. It's just old age these days. But to be able to see them overcome any challenge that is thrown at them and to do it with a smile and I've got this. I just stand by in case I need extra help. Other than that, I'm good. I want to do this on my own.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And it was like, that was so true. Like, hey, don't try to help. Don't try to help me. No, I got this. This is just, my life's a little different than it was before, but I'm still moving.
From our listeners' perspective, I think that if we think about how therapeutic it is for us to work on our Jeeps without any physical disabilities or mental disabilities or anything like that, I know for me, and Jessy included, to go out there and sit with your wrench and work on something is, well, heavens, it's how I get through every week, every day. And when you're physically or you can't really go do that on your own, for you guys to be able to provide that to someone, I think it's just incredible. It's just I think we take it for granted that we can go out and do these things whenever we want, and others can't. So to help those folks, man, yeah, pretty awesome.
It's huge. It's huge. Wow. So, well, I don't really know. I'm a little emotional. I have to say I'm a little emotional because it is such a. There are certain holidays for me. Veterans Day and Memorial Day are the two that the Metalcloak fan base will know. I get a little emotional. I get a little pushy sometimes, even my emails. Like, today it was just go thank a vet, right? If you're not going around thanking a vet today, you ain't doing it right. But to be able to thank these warriors who gave more than just their time to it, especially on Veterans Day. Memorial Day, we talk about those who gave more than their lives to fighting for freedom around the world. But these veterans who gave, and something that changed their lives completely is huge. And it's me. I'm gonna get a little choked up. I can't even say anything. Corey, it's all you.
Well, it makes me very proud that to work for a company that can support and do whatever the small thing that we can do at events and to help. I mean, that makes me feel fantastic that we're able to do anything.
Right.
So for our listeners out there, to be involved and get involved and donate and shop and check out the website, follow these folks. They have an Instagram page. They have a Facebook page. Again, it's giving up a little bit of our time to help folks that let us do what we do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's huge.
And I, again, not to get political, but just I'll remember that what we are allowed to do right now, that what we have, the freedoms that we have right now, and to have different opinions, because I embrace and love different opinions. It's the beauty of our system. But those freedoms are because of these warriors. Those freedoms we have are because of these warriors.
That's right.
And we can never, ever forget the time they spent, the dedication they gave, and what they gave up in order to protect those freedoms. Well, with that, let's say again, Heven, how can people get donations to you? Corey kind of mentioned it, but how can they support you? How can they get donations to you? If a small group has an event where they'd like to have some warriors out at, how do they do that? How do they reach out to you and coordinate with you?
So to coordinate any events, all you need to do is send an email to info@4w2h.org. If you want to volunteer, the volunteer application is actually on the website, which is www.4w2h.org. If you know somebody who can benefit from coming to an event with Four Wheel to Heal, we also have those contact forms on the website as well. Donations can be made through Facebook, through the website. We also have the ability, I believe, to do it through Instagram. If you want to see the merchandise that we have that's available, some of you may have already visited the website and seen that there's only 2 things on the website. I guarantee you there is going to be a lot more here within the next week or so. Everything has just been updated, so we will definitely have more shirts and hats available to everybody. And like I said, 100% of the proceeds go right back into the organization to be able to complete the mission. That is our whole goal, is to assist and take out as many and change as many lives as we possibly can.
That's awesome. We're just happy to be a small part of that. And that's great.
And we definitely appreciate everything you guys do.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Now, before we go, I do want to talk about one thing. Those bad-ass wheelchairs. The big 4x, those ones, the tracks.
The track chairs.
The track chairs. Who developed those, and do they work with you guys, or what's the story behind it?
We have worked with them with a company in the past. I am not absolutely positive what the name of the company is. We do not currently have anybody that we work with, but I can tell you that we have donated several track chairs to different individuals in need. And if we need to do it again, we'll do it again.
Well, I just know it was the best thing at KOH, right? We're all around, and all of a sudden, here comes this slew of track chairs coming down the aisle during the vendor show, and it's like, that's badass. I want one of those. I don't even. Yeah. I just want to be able to sit in one and take it around and play with it. It's like those are amazing.
I have not personally been in. I was not with Four Wheel to Heal when we did the donation of the track chairs, but I have met 2 of the recipients, and they are a blast just to hang around.
Yeah,
it's got to be a life-changing thing, because all of a sudden now they can go so many more places that they just couldn't before. I mean, that
absolutely
cool.
And it doesn't get stuck in anything.
Right. And pretty fast too.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't slow things like, okay, get out of my way, buddy.
I think we need to equip them all with a little horn that just blows every time they start off.
We're going to have to put the flashing lights on top like you have for forklifts and stuff. And, danger. The track chair races that'll be the Tuesday thing at KOH now.
Right.
We might have to start that.
I have to see a track chair going up like a little bus.
Well, Matson, we have our annual event that is called Built to Heal. It was originally done and coordinated by Angel with 7 Slot Society.
Oh,
this
cool.
year we took it over ourselves, and going forward, that is our main event. So keep an eye on the calendar of events for that specific event.
So do you have, is that going to be coming up in 2021? Do you have one scheduled yet?
Not for 2021. We just finished 2020 with, it was October all my days are running together. October 15th, I believe it was.
Okay, cool. Well, definitely keep us informed. Let us know. And Modern Jeeper will, anything you need from Metalcloak or Modern Jeeper, we'll put it out there. Any way we can help, and any other events coming up and stuff, we'll make sure that our community knows about it. Well, Heven, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you to your husband for serving, and thank you, all those warriors out there. Give them big hugs for us for being just amazing individuals, amazing human beings.
I definitely will.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Corey, anything you want to add?
I think this has been one of these episodes.
Absolutely.
Heven, thank you so much for joining us.
Doesn't she have the perfect name?
Right?
That's just
For sure.
yeah.
Wait till you meet me in person.
One of these days, right?
One of these days.
So, all of our Modern Jeepers out there, hope you enjoyed this episode. Please take the time to visit their website. Take the time, like in a week or so, to take a look at and get some of their swag. We expect to see it out there, and maybe we'll do something to help encourage all of you to be a part of this amazing organization. I know for me at Metalcloak, I'm just very proud to be able to be a part of it. All of us here are, and it's just one of the things that makes being in this business, in this industry, that much more exciting and enjoyable and fulfilling. Modern Jeepers, thank you again for joining this amazing episode, and we will see you on the trail.
Cheers.
See ya.
See you guys later.